In this video, we're going to be covering the process of adding a client and doing your first import. So this is going to be a very top level view. We're not going to cover specific details. We're going to have videos that cover each individual item on how it works, but this is just a general description of the entire process. So once you add a new client into the system, it's going to open it up just like this, and you're going to see a bunch of tabs that are going to be associated with this particular client. So when you add them, you do fill out some basic information, but here will be an extended view of it, right? So down here we got some credit monitoring information. If you already happen to have it, you can punch it in there. And just make sure you fill out as much information as you have available. The client settings, make sure you have all those done. We have a video dedicated that covers all these in detail. And then down here we have the payment terms, which if you are using our dynamic pricing for contracts, you can define the amounts that will appear on their contract that they're going to sign when they get access to their portal. So let's say we just added this new client and now we're ready to onboard them. So there's a little checklist here on the Actions tab, as you can see right here, 1 through 8. So the first 3 of them, these are just reminders to make sure that you have all of this done prior to onboarding them, and it will check it off, as you can see right here, once it's complete. So when you are actually ready to send them the onboarding campaign, and if you're ever curious as to what is in there, there's a quick reminder here of the different types of information they're going to get. You're just going to hit Launch Campaign. All right, and there is an option to select other campaigns, but most people, they're just going to go with step 2, the one that's already loaded in here. Just hit Assign. Now the reason we have other ones is if you are importing clients from another software, we'll be using a different onboarding campaign. So if that's the case, just make sure you get with us first and we can advise the best way of doing that. But for everybody else, if you're just adding a client normally, you're just going to leave it on that and click Assign. And when you do that, it's actually going to send out their welcome email automatically and a text message. And in that welcome email, it will give them their account, their portal login and password, as well as instructions on what to do next for uploading documentation and so forth. So they'll get that email. They'll click to log into the portal. As soon as they try and log in for the first time, it's going to present them with your agreement or contract. They do have to sign it to get access to the portal. They can digitally sign it with their mouse or with their finger on their phone. Once they're in, it'll drop them on a required documents page, which will walk them through uploading their ID, utility bill, and anything else that's required, as well as reminders for credit monitoring if they haven't already given it to you. So while your customer is doing that, you can go over here to the billing and you can start setting up their billing profile. Everybody has a bit of a different model. I'll just use the example of they $199 down and $99 a month. So you would create your invoice for the $199 down, as it's a one-off payment, and you could either charge it right there or just save it in the system. And then you can set up their actual reoccurring billing, which is what you would do here. Again, we have detailed videos on how all that works. So I'm going to show you now how to do your first round import. Now you may have already done this when they were a lead and maybe you did a consultation with them, but I'll show you how it works because it's very similar, if we're going to do it by just bringing them in as a client. So the first thing we're going to do is go import credit report. All right, so now you're going to have them signed up with credit monitoring, one of these 3. So just get their username and password from them. In another video, we cover how you can easily send them a quick email so they can sign up using your affiliate link. But let's just pretend all that's happened and you have their login. You're going to punch it in right here and you're going to start the credit import. Now, just a quick reminder, anytime you do an import, it does take a little while sometimes. If there's only a few items on the report, it might take 15 seconds, but if you have 100 items on the report or something crazy, it could take as long as 2 minutes. So there'll be an animation that comes up that kind of tells you that it's retrieving the report. Even if your browser freezes the screen, or if you get a little message that says, the page looks like it's frozen, you want to wait, just wait, click OK, and just give it some time, and it will eventually come through and display the report to you. If the report fails to get imported, you'll get a message from us that'll say that it did fail. And when it fails, your first action should be taking their login and password they provided you, go to identityiq.com or smartcredit.com, whichever one it is, and just log in as the customer. If you're successful logging in, make sure that you check to see that the account itself is not locked or that they had a failed payment on it, in which case they've disabled the ability to import reports. Like 90% of the time, that's what the issue is. Now, if it comes through and just says a failure and then everything seems okay on that side, then contact support and we can help you out with it. But that's the first thing you should always check. And of course, just wait until the report comes in. So I'm not going to show you the actual report in this video. We have a whole dedicated one to that. So once we do the import, you'll have the ability over here to do a credit analysis. You'll be able to send it to them with one click to their email. And then you'll be able to actually start doing all the marking all the negative items that you want to dispute on the report. Now, once you're done doing that and you hit save, it's going to bring you over here to the main disputes tab. Now, this is going to display all the items that you had flagged on the report that you want to dispute. Here you'll have the opportunity to review each one of these and make any refinements or changes that you need to make prior to building letters. If you need to manually add a dispute, you can do that up here with these two buttons. So once you're good with everything here, it's time to build some letters. So if we go over to our letters tab, basically here, what we're going to do is we're going to choose a letter template. You can customize these letters as much as you like, but let's just pretend, we're going to use, the investigation letter. Okay. And now we're going to choose which of these items is going to go in it. So we're going to check all the ones we want to include with that letter. Once we're done with that, we're going to hit create letter, and it's going to give us a preview of all the data merged into the actual letters. You can preview them before you finally generate the PDFs, and it will give you the opportunity to see everything as it's going to be sent out, and you can make fine adjustments during that time. Quick reminder that anytime you see where it says need an address for a creditor, push that little plus sign right there and add the address. You're going to have to Google it and then punch it in. So let's say we did that, we generated our letters. Now we're going to go ahead and print them. Once it's printed, the last piece of this process down here, step 4, update the client status. So this is a reminder that once you've printed everything for this customer, you need to go back here to the Actions tab, and you're going to change the status here to whichever round they're currently in. So if you just did the first round of disputes, now they're in round 1. Go ahead and hit update and launch, and then a whole bunch of email automations will take over that'll touch base with them during that 30-day window. Now, when you come and do a second round import, after you're done doing your import and you've printed your letters, you're going to come back here again, and you're going to change it into round 2, and then hit update and launch again. Same thing for round 3 and round 4. So print the letters, update the status, launch. That makes sure that all the correct messaging and everything is going out to that customer. All right. So now that we've covered the basic process, when it comes to round 2 and you do your import, you're going to see a side-by-side report. Essentially, you're just going to take a look at the new report, which is be on the left-hand side, and compare it to the original report on the right-hand side. And you're just going to note any updates or changes to it. Once you hit save, it'll bring you back here to your dispute screen, and you'll be able to continue disputing any items that did not come off as part of your initial disputing, and you can repeat the process from there. The dispute results, this will update automatically when you have done a second round import. So this will give you a list of all the items that you're currently disputing, and it will give you the statuses for each one. And you can manually update a status here as well if you want to. Feel free to do that, and then you have some instructions you can add here if you want to continue to dispute it, and just save it when you're done. And basically at this stage you're just going to rinse and repeat, right? So as you do an import, you're going to come back, check all your disputes are good, make any edits you want to, click onto the letters, create them, print them, update the status, rinse and repeat. That's essentially how that entire process works. Now, every time you do an import and there is a score change, your customer will receive an email automatically letting them know that there's new scores to be checked out. They'll log into their portal, and hopefully they have some improvements. So that pretty much covers the process side of things. As I mentioned before, we're going to do specific videos that cover each tab in great detail, but at least, now you sort of understand the flow that applies every time you do a round.